Hey y'all.
Hey y'all, Friday.
Friday love this. We have a little guest resting in my lap.
Look at this cutie
Look at that.
patootie.
She's my favorite. Cameo by Phoenix.
Yes.
So Rachel and I were talking about dating, going on dates, and decided to let y'all listen in because we were talking about how we have a tendency, not we, but we know
The
that
collective.
people have a tendency to engage in small talk instead of asking like the real questions that you really need to know. To me, dating, the whole purpose of it is to figure out if we want to be in a relationship together.
Right. So what we're saying is people are like, oh, what's your favorite color? What kind of music do you listen to?
Mm-hmm.
What school did you go to?
And
Which could tell you a little bit about somebody, I suppose. But I want to know how you talk to your mama on the phone.
right.
I want to know the tone of voice you use when you're annoyed.
Exactly, because I don't want to be in a relationship with you because we listen to the same music.
I want to know if you like to fight in conflict or if you're like, you know what, I'd rather not.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather just talk.
How you handle conflict is like my number one. Like that's what maybe on the first date, maybe not, but early. I want to know
early, not literally on the first date, but also when you ask that question, like, how do you deal with conflict?
Yeah,
and how they respond tells you a lot, right? So if they're like, I don't know.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna need you to know.
Or if they just deflect, like,
right.
What do you like?
What you mean?
You're getting kind of heavy already,
right.
and it's
right.
like, because I need to know that, because we are going to have conflict,
and that matters to me.
Yeah.
So
if
that doesn't matter to you, and that really matters to me, like maybe this ain't it.
Maybe this ain't it, and that's okay too.
That's okay too, and now I know, so I don't waste nobody's time.
Yes. So let's not have that conversation. 10 dates in. Let's have that conversation.
Or for some
people, already in the relationship,
a year in,
and then you find out, right?
We like, man, we really fight like cats and dogs, and we don't figure out how to do that.
We never talked about it before. So okay,
how are you mad at somebody when you didn't ask the question?
I think it also could be important. I just want to say, in friendship, to have some of these.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, relationships. Like, forget first date, but like first.
Yeah.
Early getting to know somebody, these are important things.
Yeah.
So one you said is how do you handle conflict? Which I love that one.
And how you talk to your mama.
How you talk to your
mama. How you talk to your parents. How you talk to your family. The people that you care about. How you engage with them is important.
Which I might not have to ask that question. I might just want to hear you on the phone with somebody.
Yeah, you might just get to listen in and see. I think we in the past we've talked about how you change depending on who you're talking to in the context is important.
That's important to me.
We all have our professional voice. And then you have your I'm hanging out with my friends and I'm hanging out with my family. Mm-hmm. And it's I think important to both of us to kind of see who are you really, if you're different with everybody, that's important to know.
Who are you, and I think why, right?
And why?
If you're on because you're at a work thing, I might be able to make some sense of that.
Yeah.
If you're on with everybody differently, I'm like, I can't make sense of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. I think I also am interested in people's. Spirituality. That's a question I want the answer to early. I want to know what you think of that, right? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean it's a deal breaker if you don't think like me, because it's not. Trust me.
Right.
But I do. There are probably deal breakers, right? And I want to know if you've thought about it.
Yeah.
And I want to know. I want to.
I think spirituality and politics, all the things that we're traditionally kind of told you shouldn't really talk about. Mm-hmm. You should talk about.
I might ask what are 3 of your favorite books?
What would you get from knowing that?
Well, I think about what I would say, and somebody would know very quickly what matters.
Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So I mean that's my only perspective, right? How would I answer these questions, and what would somebody learn from me if I answered them? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I determine
what you would ask.
What I would ask. Because sometimes it's hard even to tell people who I am or how I am. Like, you just don't just come forward like, well, I believe I'm anti-oppressive, and I think you're like, we're not gonna have those conversations.
Right.
Somebody asked me like my favorite 3 books, and I get to list The Pedagogy of the Oppressed and why, and how life-changing it was for me, and the spiritual teachings of the Avatar. Like, now you know Rachel, like that quick, right? So it's like good questions that help segue into pretty intense topics.
Yeah, I want to know.
And like green eggs and ham, because I love Dr. Seuss. Like what?
And there you go. That's quintessential.
Yeah.
I want to know how you manage mental health.
Oh, good one.
I want to know, and there's so many ways to kind of dig in there, but do you see a therapist to manage it? Have you ever, been depressed, or do you experience anxiety? And like, there's a way to kind of broach that conversation, because you don't necessarily want to just come out and be like, hey.
Well, you don't want to come off as being judgmental.
Right.
Right? Like, if you had these things. So I think it is important that, like, how you ask the question matters. And I like the idea, like, how do you handle your mental health? Like, what do you do for your mental health well-being?
And you can kind of get into that question by sharing how you do that thing, whatever it is.
You better be willing to. You got to be willing to answer every question you're gonna ask.
For sure.
That's another good one.
Yeah, I think another one might be.
I would ask, how do you eat your Pop-Tarts? I mean, I would ask that question. I know.
That, I think, definitely falls under small talk. But okay.
But I think it could lead to, because I have a strong opinion about this, I think it leads to really deep stuff if you start to talk about why and what matters about the way you eat your pop. Anyway, so
there are small talk questions that can lead to real conversations.
For me, that has been a game changer.
I was going to say money is one that's important to me to talk about. How you manage your money. I don't think you necessarily need to ask this person like how much do they make or anything like that, but like what are sort of their ambitions around money? What are their ambitions in general? Like where do they see their lives going? What do they envision for themselves? Like what do they consider family? Yeah. Like what does that look like for them ideally? Because you don't really know like what will happen, but I think it's good to sort of talk about like what they would like.
Yeah, and you might even be able to ask a question like, what does success at 40 look like? Right?
Yeah.
Because that answer can be very different for lots of different people.
Yeah.
And you'll find out what their measures of success are, and if those align with your measures of success.
And how close they are to 40. The changes.
I'm mad.
When you're in your 20s, we got some people.
Oh, it changes. I hear what you're saying. Yes.
When you're in your 20s, success at 40 is very different than when you're 35. Yeah. And you're like,
I'm assuming that I'm gonna know their age.
Yeah. But just the general question, if you're asking someone, their age. But
so if you're 20 and you're watching this video, you might say like, what's success look like at 25? Right? Mm-hmm. Don't, I said 40 because of how I am. Yeah. Let me not tell my age and all that. Anyway, but yes,
in her 30s.
Yes.
Like me.
That's what we do.
We both are. But I think the point is, aside from the Pop-Tarts question, that you should ask questions, and I mean, even with that, you should ask things that you should first of all think about what's actually important to you to know to make a decision about whether or not to be in relationship with that person, and like be thoughtful about that, and then ask those questions, because asking them what their favorite color is, asking them what their favorite movie is, those sorts of things, they can tell you something, but they only tell you so much, and they're not going to tell you
who they are
and whether or not you want to be in relationship with them.
It's not going to match your alignment up.
Yeah.
You both like orange, that don't mean she get married.
That part.
You're welcome.
Right. So, just wanted to throw that out there real quick.
Hey, if you have questions, add them to the comments. We'd love to see what your first day questions are.
All right. We teach love, y'all.
Teach love.